like Millet might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short.
Spend my days with a woman unkind, smoke my stuff and drink all my wine. Made up my mind, make a new start, going to California with an aching in my heart. Someone told me there's a girl out there with love in her eyes and flowers in her hair. Took my chances on a big jet plane. Never let them tell you that we're all the same.
Nestled in the Sonoma Mountains near a geographic formation known as Sears Point, Sonoma Raceway has been a staple on the NASCAR schedule for over 3 decades. Sonoma presents a unique challenge for drivers of big stock cars or trucks. While the 1.99-mile, 10-turn stock car configuration cuts off 2 slow turns and a half-mile of pavement, there's still plenty of ups and downs and zigs and zags for the drivers to cope with. Keeping the tires and brakes in good working order while maintaining a competitive pace is one of the biggest challenges these drivers face all year long. Until it was taken over by Speedway Motorsports in 1996, the facility endured a turbulent history under a variety of names and owners, one of which was a Hollywood studio. While the circuit opened for competition in 1968 under the name Sears Point Raceway and hosted USAC IndyCar, NASCAR West, Stock Car, SCCA professional and amateur races, it failed to perform financially and was closed down 2 years later. In 1973, the track reopened as a venue for amateur sports car competition and on a separate drag strip, drag racing. It wasn't until 1989 and the arrival of NASCAR's Top Series that the track's prospects truly began to brighten. The $60 million improvement program began in 2000 and has catapulted Sonoma Raceway into the top rank of American motorsport facilities. Tonight, it's race number 9 of the Noble Racing Series, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Sonoma Raceway for race number 9 of the Noble Racing Series tonight. Here from Sonoma Raceway, 40 laps the race distance, 80-degree ambient temperature, 49% humidity, partly cloudy skies, kind of breezy here at 11 miles per hour. Track temp, pretty warm at 126 degrees. Could wreak havoc on these tires here tonight. Practice just about wrapped up. Let's go down trackside to see where everyone's shaking out. Zach Millett, the fastest time thus far. No one really surprised with that. Very fast on just about every road course we see Millett run. Having a little issue there, but minute 17:44, his best lap. Brian McCann, a minute 18:75. Just a few seconds remain in the session. Again, if you remember the last season in the trucks, quite the battle between Zach Millett and Brian McCann. McCann staying out on old tires, if I remember correctly, and Millett getting fresh but unable to take the win away. McCann ended up winning that race then in the truck. We'll see if Millett can have a little redemption here tonight. And qualifying about to take place. Will Hewitt, the first to roll. Got Allison Rose and as Vengeance in the stream chat. Thanks for checking in, guys. Of course, cheering on the Tucker boys. Again, this is the first live stream with HBR TV after the iRacing update. We haven't dialed back any of our settings, but some things may have changed on the iRacing side because I've skipped and missed a few frames already early on. So if there's any lag on everybody's end, I do apologize. We'll try to get that dialed in more specifically in future events. Chris Elliott in the chat. Has Zach won yet? I think he did last week. Looking for 2 in a row this week. So I think it was last week. Will Hewitt, certainly not a road racer by trade, but he certainly put the work in. Looks pretty smooth out there. Of course, I say that and he runs wide. Speaking of guys that have put the work in, Vincent Short. Certainly a fan of Sonoma Raceway, but he's got a little bit of a background in the road racing side of things. Not a ton of success, but laps do matter. Seat time makes a difference, doesn't matter what you're in. Matt Sisler in the chat says, Zach hasn't won yet, but that's because the green flag hasn't been shown. Again, Matt, I got to remind you, last year, he was the runner-up at this track in the trucks. Brian McCann ended up taking the top spot in the race win last season. This one's certainly not a foregone conclusion by any means. First lap for Vincent Short, not too shabby, 1:22:49. He's going to call it one and done. And Zach Millett's first lap, super fast, way better than he ran in practice, 1:16:97. This broadcaster was only able to run a 1:19, and I'm willing to bet the track tempo is way lower than it is here. Millett's going to call it 1:16:96. Can't go wrong there. Brian McCann into the final corner. Turn 11, the hairpin. Technically call this turn 12. Back to start finish, McCann. 1:17:95, a great lap, second quick thus far. I don't know if he's got enough in the tank to throw a faster one down. Brian McCann in through the S's, turn 7, 8, 8A, and then 9. Finishing out with turn 10, the hard right-hander, then the short shoot run down to the hairpin, turn 11. Eddie Rose in the chat. We got Chastity Tucker, Realtor, also, of course, cheering on the Tucker boys. Tucker boy. It sounds like something out of Peaky Blinders. It's the gang. McCann out of the hairpin. One more quick left and back to start finish. Does he improve? Quick hands out of that turn 12. Not faster though, but still a solid run. Chris Goins, the number 41 Popple Pro Dodge. Goins does run quite a bit of road racing, although in sports cars more than anything else. Certainly has the fundamentals down. Top three right now, it's Millett, McCann, and Michael Tucker. Then Keaton Burnett and Joe Tucker, your top five. Joe Tucker also no stranger to road racing. First lap for Goins, pretty good. Minute 20.705. Alfie Charon's first lap, 6th quick, minute 20.58. We'll see if Alfie can improve. Alfie's a guy that also has put in the work on road courses, of course, a teammate with Zach Millett. Zach certainly giving Alfie some pointers, I'm sure, in practice during the week. Alfie into the S's. And those of you that see the track map up on the screen, the small number, if you can see it. If you're watching on your phone, you probably cannot. But if you're on a TV or even a computer monitor, that 9 in the middle, that indicates, of course, the car number. That's how we will run it throughout the course of the race. So whatever driver we're focused on, really any driver on the track will display their car number in that little bubble. Blue, a little loose in 12. That's going to cost Alfie some time. Let's see how close it was at the stripe. Minute 20.114. Alfie improves, jumps up into the 5th spot. Back to Chris Goins, back to start finish. See if he can jump himself a little further up into the top 10, maybe even the top 5. Looked good out of 12. 6 quick, minute 19.79. Good lap for the 41. Matt Sisler, the number 93, also no stranger to road racing, a minute 19.32. Third fast on his first lap. Working his way through the hairpin, still under power. Sisler at the line. Minute 19.4, not faster. Loses about a 10th, but a solid run nonetheless. So 11 drivers have been on the racetrack during the session. Some did the one and done kind of thing. Millett was one of those. Vincent Short, another. Michael Tucker, another. Will Hewitt took 2 laps, it looks, but doesn't clock in an official time, unfortunately for Hewitt. Not indicative of his abilities on a road course. Ken Couch, Doug Wysocki, Jesse Redding, Neil Quick, Mark Truxell not taking a time in the session. But keep an eye on Mark Truxell. He's another guy that does spend some time running in the sports car end of things on road courses. So again, speaking of fundamentals, he's got him down as well. We'll see if that pays off for him. Looks like he might be starting in the rear, or at least close to it. So with that, we're going to jump out, get a short break out of the way. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Looks like Millett might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short. Welcome back to Sonoma Raceway. Let's get a look at our starting grid on the pole with a lap time of 1 minute, 16.965 seconds. It's the 315 of Zach Millett. Outside front row, it's the 3 of Brian McCann. We got ourselves a heavyweight title fight rematch from last season. McCann will start to the right side of Zach Millett. Matt Sisler, the number 93, will start in the 3rd position. Brandon Mefford with Charity Motorsports will start 4th. 5th starter Michael Tucker showed a lot of pace this season. Solid top 5 qualifying position here at the road course. Chris Goins lining up in the 6th spot. Alfie Charon starts 7th. 8th starter is the 26 of Keaton Burnett. 9th is Joe Tucker. Drew Prell will start from the 10th position. 11th starter is going to be Vincent Short. Neil Quick will start 12th. Will Hewitt, 13th starter. Doug Wysocki will roll 14th. Mark Truxell in the 5 will start 15th with Ken Couch starting 16th. Jesse Redding, the number 21, a late addition here. He'll start 17th and shotgun on the field here tonight. Your starting grid here from Sonoma Raceway. Field going to take 1 parade lap before we get this one underway. Now, I got to admit, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast that I did some laps here myself. Not a ton, maybe a handful. My best was like a minute 19.5, I think it was. But track temp was a lot lower, a lot more grip out there than what they have to deal with here today. In fact, let's take a look at that weather before we get too deep. 80 degrees the air temperature, 123 degrees the track temp. That's almost 40 degrees warmer than I was lucky enough to contend with. And even then, these cars were an extreme handful by yourself. Just being able to put the power down, even in 3rd or 4th gear, extremely difficult. It's going to take a lot of work for these guys to keep things under control throughout the 40 laps here at Sonoma. Mark Truxell still listed as in pit lane here. Not sure the scenario there. In fact, I don't even see him in the session, so that's a tough break. Mark Truxell likely to be a contender, at least for a top 10 here tonight, but doesn't look like he's been able to get his car to roll out of the starting grid. That's been pushed behind the wall. Mark Truxell may not make the green flag for this. Pace car is about to roll off. Field through the hairpin, then it's a quick left. And then to the start-finish line with the Barney the Flag Man with a green in hand, and we are racing from Sonoma Raceway. Up the hill, Zach Millett with about a half-second advantage over Brian McCann. Mark Truxell did finally take the green flag here, but he is a distance back from the rest of the field. Lap 1 just about in the books. Zach Millett remains out in front. Again, local yellow only here tonight. No full course cautions to contend with, so we should click these laps by in a hurry. Likely to see some pit stops, certainly. Only caution you will see tonight is the stage caution, which will be at the completion of lap 15. Drivers do have 2 sets of tires over the wall and a 75% fuel load. I think tires are going to be the biggest concern with the power that these race cars throw down to the pavement. The track temperature that we're dealing with here today, you're going to roast those rear tires if you're not careful. Every time you slip and slide, the rear end of that car steps out the slightest little bit. It's putting added heat into those tires. Heat creates wear creates lower lap times, and poor quality handling. We'll see how that happens to these drivers throughout the course of the event. Millett seems to be handling it so far, but you can see a fall off from lap 1 to lap 2 as far as lap times are concerned. That's how quickly the tires degrade. Checking on Brandon Mefford back in the 5th position, in behind Michael Tucker. Tucker's up 1 spot on the start. Now, my only guess with Mark Truxell is possibly having a connection issue at the start. He had to rejoin the session very late. And unfortunately for Truxell, he is out of the session again. Is he back in or not? No, does not appear to be. Truxell went to pit lane here after about 1 lap, and he's out again. Top 3 right now: Zach Millett, Brian McCann, Matt Sisler. Again, Michael Tucker in the 4th spot. Brandon Mefford closing back in. That deficit shrinking. Oh, real loose out of turn 10. Chris Goins keeps it going straight down the road. As you ride on board here with Michael Tucker, you can hear how much those rear tires are spinning, trying to put the power down. Oh, Mefford, real loose, really loose, the top of the hill. Almost spins it sideways in turn 2, but loses a ton of ground. So Chris Goins jumps up into the 5th spot. Mefford loses a couple of positions out of this. Alfie Charon gets by as well. Now we ride on board with Keaton Burnett, just ahead of Joe Tucker. Again, Tucker with some road racing background as well. Big wiggle for both drivers at the crest of the hill. Millett out to a 3.8 second advantage over Brian McCann. You see how good of an exit Keaton Burnett gets out of turn 11. Meanwhile, Doug Wysocki has had an incident on the track. Let's see what happened here with Doug. So much about rhythm at this place. It's hard sometimes to get these cars to turn. And Vincent Short off the track. Off-road excursion into the dirt. Now, one trick that I've found, it's not really a trick, it's more of a fundamental of road racing, but at a place like this especially, you've got to be able to balance your braking as far as trail braking is concerned. Now, what is trail braking when somebody asks that question? It's hard to really explain it without the hand motions that I'm trying to show as the car leans forward, but coming down a straightaway into a corner, you can be really late on the brakes, but if you let off of the brakes too soon, you unload the front of the race car, because when you hit the brakes, the weight transfers to the nose. Now, if you got all that weight on the nose, you got weight on the front tires, it's more apt to turn left or right and behave how you want it to, but if you lift off of the brake, you unload those front tires. When that happens, you lose a lot of that turn-in or ability to continue your turn. So guys want to drag the brake through the corner as late as they can and really be ready to get off of the brakes just about the time you're going right back to the gas. If you do it a little bit too early or you apex too early, you're likely to slide the nose and push, or what we call in road racing as understeer. It really is a difficult task to master. If you're driving a race car, you always have that mindset, oh, I got to put the throttle down, I got to go. Sometimes the best brakes make you faster. Mefford way wide in turn 11, no, turn 10 that is. Mefford stays out of the barrier, gets back on the track, opens the door for Joe Tucker. So move Joe Tucker up into the 8th spot. Alfie Charon taking a position from Chris Goins. Don't know if that was a self-inflicted issue. Looks like Goins is going to lose 2 spots here as Keaton Burnett attacking. Keaton takes the spot. Meanwhile, Will Hewitt has had a problem out of the track. Let's see what happened here to the 33 machine. Oh, just loosen that kink in turn 12. A little overcorrection, hits the wall, hits the inside wall, comes to a stop. Possibly too much damage to continue. Will Hewitt may be out of this. And no faster pairs. Two drivers out of this race, it appears. Will Hewitt, Mark Truxell. Truxell possibly with some connection issues, keeping him out of this one early. Millet checking out, 6.6 seconds ahead of the competition. Michael Zucker up into the 4th spot. Back up front to Zach Millett. Reeling in the 34 of Doug Wysocki, the first car to go a lap down here, it looks like. At least it's still out on the racetrack. Wysocki pulls it to the right side, just lets Millett go. In-car view of the 315 as we watch Zach Millett go to work. Left hand, turn 3, then top of the hill, turn 4. Short run, downhill, turn 5. See how close as he gets to the wall here on exit. Very close. Meanwhile, Ken Couch in pit lane. little bit of damage to the 08. In fact, that thing's towed in considerably in the right front. I think we may have a replay of it. Little right rear damage on the 08 as well. Let's get a look, see what happened here to Ken Couch. He's down into turn 11, hairpin. Just overran the corner. And again, we talked about trail braking and how if you let off the brake a little too soon, you can lose the nose. That's kind of what it looked like. Could also be a little bit offline there. If you get too far to the left, you do run the risk of losing the grip. Millett still with the race lead, 9 seconds ahead of Brian McCann. Best lap for Millett to date, at least in this race, 1:17.5. That is lightning fast. Brian McCann, his second fastest lap, comparative, 1:18.22. Impressively enough, though, 10 laps in, Millett is still running 1:19.79. That was his last lap. I can still say the same for Brian McCann, 1:20.57 on the hot racetrack on worn-out tires. Very impressed, really, with the lap times across the board, all the way down into the top 10. Alfie Sharon up 2 spots in P5. No contest there. Chris Goins just ahead of Neil Quick. Don't let Neil's background fool you either. He can get it done on a road course. It's not his forte, but he's got some pace as he goes to the inside. An aggressive and dangerous move, but he makes it work. This all happening through the end of the S's, turns 9 and 10. Move Neil Quick up into the 7th spot. Remember, he started towards the back here tonight. Neil Quick on a strong run. Again, up 5 positions from qualifying, but he's up significantly more. He did have to go to the back to start. Neil receiving an EOL at the start and was unable to qualify from an incident occurring at Pocono. So Neil's having a really strong run here. Very impressed with the pace of the two to this point. Zach Millett into some traffic once again as Ken Couch is, well, he was ahead. He went off the racetrack. I don't know if he just didn't get enough of the repairs made. Let's see what happened here with the 08 again. This might have been just a moment ago. Got the toe at least semi-fixed on the 08 machine, but maybe not up to his liking as he pulls to the left, top of the hill, and lets the race leader go on by. Ken Couch may be out of this one for good. So as it stands right now, it looks like Doug Wysocki still in the race and on the racetrack. Ken Couch, Will Hewitt, Mark Truxell, though, out of this race. That's just it, though. If Doug Wysocki, regardless of how much he loves or hates road racing, if he just stays out there, there's going to be some more attrition to this thing before it's over. It's almost a guarantee. Neil Quick taking another spot now from Keaton Burnett as Chris Goins has slipped a bit as well. Don't know if Chris had another issue on the racetrack. He did not hit pit lane. In fact, here it is. We'll see what happened here with Chris Goins just a moment ago. This was coming up the hill. Oh, does he make contact? Hard to tell from that angle. We'll look at this one more time. Just hits the curb there. Nobody pushed him. Looks like he stays off that tire pack, so that's a plus. But track position lost. Three-car battle here as Keaton Burnett trying to reel back into two of Neil Quick, but Brandon Mefford all over the back of the 26, almost loses it again himself as Keaton Burnett drives it wide off the racetrack. Meanwhile, Mefford takes the spot away. Again, Keaton Burnett running it off the racetrack there for just a moment. Gave up the track position, trying to stay ahead of the 83. And as we said, Mefford, not particularly a road racer, but he's put some time into the craft. He's come over to the Noble Can-Am Series and ran some races with us in the late model stock series for a little while. Also some experience in the road course in the IROC Challenge Series that just wrapped up their season in this car. Zach Millett still with the race lead, about 14.5 seconds ahead of Brian McCann. Not very often you see McCann running in second place that far behind the race leader. McCann's fast almost everywhere we go. I'm surprised Kevin didn't come run here tonight. Brian's brother, Kevin McCann, very good on road courses. Again, I don't want to short side him either. Very good everywhere he runs. Now it's Chris Goins and Vincent Short. We watch this fight. Wysocki pulling away again. Let the guys go by and fight it out. I think Doug's just being smart about it. Just trying to go out here, run the laps, finish the race, try to keep the fenders on it. It's not a bad move if you're not a road guy. Vince real fast through the S's, right there to the back bumper of Chris Goins, catches the curb through turn 10. Late on the brakes is Short again, down into the hairpin, looking to the inside. Still watching this fight. Oh, real loose on exit. Chris Goins still maintains the spot in front of Vince Short. Thought that was going to be it. We'll be right on board with Vincent Short. Surprisingly, the caution has not come out just yet. We should be at the end of the stage here in just a moment, and there it is. See, someone was listening.
How you doing in there, kid?
Caution on the raceway here. Zach Millett wins the stage. Jesse Redding stays ahead of Millett to stay on the lap, on the lead lap that is. Jesse running 13th. Some drivers already starting to save some fuel. I can hear Millett cutting that motor off. Yeah, there it is again, just coasting through turn 10. Waiting for Zach to pick up the safety car here. Feeling pretty well spread out. It's going to take some time to get them all caught up. They're going to have to stay effectively at race speed. catch the pace car here, which could be tricky because these guys are in a situation where they may not have the fuel. Again, the caution came out a lot later than anticipated. It should have been at the very end of lap 15. The caution came out at lap 16. Now we're on lap 17. Pace car and Zach Millett up through turns 3 and 4. So the next time by, I believe the pit lane will open. Drivers will be able to run down, get pit service, fuel, tires, the whole 9 yards. Question is, will Millett be able to make it back? Car's not running right now. Hopefully this is by design. We'll see what happens if he dumps the clutch here and goes. There it is now. Just got to get through the S's another time. Ryan McCann has caught up, so has Matt Sisler. Those of you still in the stream, well, you've got an opportunity here during the caution flag. If you're still watching, go ahead and click that like button for us. We do appreciate it. I saw some of you already had done so that's always appreciated. Field coming down pit lane here for their stage break caution pit stops. Millett with his, well, primer Audi, I guess you could call it. You got one Audi in the field and one Kia Stinger. That would be Matt Sisler. Millett into the box. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel for everyone, I would imagine. I think Millett had to wait on fuel there. 15.45 second stop, but he's still out first. So with that, let's see if we can pull Zach Millett in the broadcast booth and get a word with our stage winner and get his take on where we're at in this race so far. Millett, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Steve, got a copy.
Zach, I'm sure it's a handful out there. You're making it look easy, but congratulations on the Stage 1 win. What's the forecast look like for your outcome for this race going forward? I know last season you weren't able to take that win from Brian McCann. He's in second place in behind you. Do you have enough to hold him off all the way to the finish?
Oh, man, with either McCann, there's no way to know. I mean, those guys are fast every week, and I can't, get out of focus too much at all at the end of this race, or else he's going to go right on by. So we're going to try to keep the tires under this thing and try to finish strong here.
Certainly had the pace in qualifying with a sub-minute 17 lap over Brian McCann. You've got the pace, it seems, but what's the strategy look like from here on in? Are you willing to share your plans for that green flag stop?
Well, I mean, I'm running the numbers in my head right now. If I can make it, I'm going to try to go for it, but I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see what we can do.
All right, Zach. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, man.
Zach Millett, your Stage 1 winner. I got to be honest. He blew away the competition in this first stage. But in talking to him just now, that wasn't the voice of confidence from Zach Millett. He has still got his head in this, face forward, game face. He knows the ability level of Brian McCann, who's in behind him. I think McCann kind of beat him on the strategy last year in this race. Granted, it was in a different vehicle, but nonetheless. Both of these guys are very good anywhere we go. They both have very quick hands. They're good at taking care of their equipment. It's just going to come down to, I think, who's got the best strategy at the end of this thing. Now, it almost sounded like Zach was talking about trying to go all the way to the end without making another stop. I don't know if that's possible, but we're going to see. Pace car lights are off. We work through the S's now. We should be going back green flag racing here this time by. Some stragglers still to get caught up to the field. Chris Goins, Vincent Short, Drew Prowl, Jesse Redding. See Doug Wysocki further in the back. Again, Doug not on the lead lap currently. Jesse is way behind the field here. I don't know if they're going to give him the extra lap here under caution to let Jesse get caught up. Doesn't appear to be the case, but Jesse's way behind. There it is, pace car in pit lane. Going to go back green flag racing with 20 laps up on the board. Should give us 21 to go. Because you know that 20th lap counts.
Green flag.
Green flag back in the air. Field has worked its way back into the S's. Mike Tucker through the pit cycle has worked himself up back to the top three. Sisler relegated a spot less back to P4. Fifth place is Neil Quick. Kevin having a really strong run here. Well, I think Vincent Short has had an off-track excursion as well. Let's see what happened here with Vince. Top of the hill. Oh, contact with Joe Tucker. Wasn't quite clear. Sends him into the fence. Watch that one here a little slower. A little bit of damage already on the left front of the 15. Yeah, and Tucker really had nowhere else to go. He was almost all the way over to the curbing there into the dirt. Now we watch Matt Sisler in the fourth spot trying to hold off the two of Neil Quick. This battle's shaping up quick. No pun intended. Sisler using all the racetrack and then some as he's throwing up dirt behind him. Tell you, back in the day, that was a strategy. We saw guys like, well, Earnhardt, for instance, would do that. Throw some dirt on the track behind the competition, kind of throw that in their face, slow them down a bit, dirty up the racetrack. So Zach Millett, fresh out of the gate with fresh tires once again, almost 2 seconds now ahead of Brian McCann, but I don't know. We'll see if there's another pit stop in store here. We saw Millett trying to save fuel just to get back to pit lane at the end of that stage. I don't know if they can make it all the way, but we're going to find out. But we're going to do it after this. We're going to take a side-by-side break. It'll be our only side-by-side break of the race. So stay with us. You won't miss a minute of the action. We'll be right back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
at Sonoma Raceway. Lap 25 of 40 in the books. Millett still with the lead, 4 seconds over Brian McCann and Mike Tucker, who watch the battle still with Neil Quick and Brandon Mefford. Quick has the 5th spot. Mefford closing in, still about 6/10 off the back bumper. Last lap for Quick, a minute 20.06. Mefford, a minute 20.33. So pretty evenly paced, but Mefford's got Alfie Charon closing in. Ooh, Mefford locks up the right front into the corner. Doesn't appear to hurt him too terribly bad. Now back through the S's. Last lap for Alfie, a minute 20.44 for just about a 10th off the pace of Mefford. Keith Burnett still running within the top 10 in 8th. His last lap, a minute 22.47, and Chris Goins, he's running 9th, but a minute 21.14, much faster than Keaton Burnett at this point, but a change in position as they get into the hairpin turn 11. Joe Tucker gets underneath Drew Prahl. Prahl real loose on exit, straightens it back out. Prahl chasing that race car on throttle. Vincent Short still back in the 12th position. Might have had a small issue there on corner exit a moment ago. He didn't seem quite up to pace. And then Jesse Redding in 13th, the last car on the lead lap, the number 21. Still not much has changed here in the battle for the 5th position. Neil Quick still has it. Brandon Mefford running 6th. Alfie runs a little wide in 11. Sorry, turn 10 that is. I tell you, Mefford's a monster on the brakes, getting down into the hairpin, close the gap considerably on the 2 of Neil Quick. Real loose in that quick left-hander. Then up the hill. I don't know. Oh, we'll go back to it. This battle is not over. These two are still fighting it out. I think Mefford's might have found something here. I think Neil's backing up his corners. That might be the difference between the two, which means Neil is early on the brakes versus Brandon Mefford late on the brakes. That's why you see that gap increase on corner exit and decrease on entry. It's not necessarily a wrong or right way to do it. It's just a different way to do it. So you see their lap times pretty close together, within about a 10th of each other. Through the S's, though, Mefford closing in real wide at turn 10, keeps it on the racetrack this time on the brakes. Mefford closes the gap again. Let's see if Neil jumps out on throttle. Through all that, I think Alfie's caught Brandon Mefford again. So let's watch this fight and see if Alfie can make a move here and take the spot from Brandon Mefford as Mefford tries to reel in and pass Neil Quick. Just doesn't seem to quite have enough pace to do it. See if that forces a mistake, but again, through the S's, it seems Mefford's got a little bit more pace than the 9. Mefford took a defensive line down into the hairpin, thinking that Alfie might have had a run. Alfie's there, takes a look to the inside. Nothing doing there, and Michael Tucker's in trouble. Tucker was running in that third position. Let's see if we can figure out what happened with Mike Tucker just a moment ago. Oh, airborne, big time, hit the curb hard. Off-road excursion for the 39. I don't think he used any of the racetrack in that corner. Hopefully he doesn't sustain some damage off of that. He may have, and he might have had a secondary issue because at this point in the lap, he was still in behind Matt Sisler, who now runs third. Again, we're still watching the replay here. I want to see if anything additionally happened here to Mike Tucker just a moment ago. We saw him have trouble through the S's. This is back up the hill into turns 2 and 3. He was trying to reel the 93 back in. Again, still watching the replay here. That might have been it. I don't know. Meanwhile, not much has changed here as far as the Mefford and Neil Quick battle goes. Quick starting to run away a little bit more, but Mefford's had to go defensive. Real loose top of the hill. You see the patch of rubber he just laid down. Opens the door for Alfie again, but nowhere to make the move for the 9. Tough place to make passes here at the top of the hill. And through turn 4 now. Quick run downhill into turn 5. Tucker off the racetrack again. He is now struggling big time. Mefford very aggressive on the curbs here. He might be in trouble. Looking to the inside. Alfie Sharon has the spot, and he's clear. So move the 9 up into the top 5. Zach Millett through the hairpin. Going to be 10 laps to go at the stripe. Now, Millett's got 6+ seconds on Brian McCann. But again, with no cautions anticipated, got local yellow only. Either Zach is fully confident in the amount of fuel he's got to the finish, or he's throwing caution to the wind and just going for it. I don't think he's got enough time to make a pit stop if McCann decides to stay out. Wysocki getting out of the way again. Smart move. Doug's just driving around there, turning laps, staying out of the way. So Mefford has lost touch with Alfie Sharon here as well. Now Alfie's starting to try to reel in Neil Quick. Alfie can get into a rhythm here for a handful of laps. He should be able to reel in the 2 if he's careful. Last lap for Sharon was about 0.2 quicker than Neil Quick. As Drew Prale's in trouble on the racetrack. Just coming back up to speed. We'll see what happened here to the number 80 machine. A little too much curb, and around she went, or at least close to it. Nothing significant. Again, Prale's not a self-proclaimed road racer by any means, but again, he's out there doing it. Turning all the laps that he can. He seems to have the right line. It's just a matter of throttle and brake. So here we see 3rd, 4th, and 5th all close together here with less than 9 laps to go. Sisler maintaining that 3rd spot. Battle for the top two looks to be settled, or at least close to it. Millett and McCann, it's all going to come down to pit stops, I believe. Sisler 22 seconds, almost shy of the race lead. But again, third, fourth, and fifth here, all pretty tight together. About a second and a half from third to fifth. Continue to watch this battle. And I don't know, we've seen Neil Quick be super aggressive in a lot of these races, and that's just his driving style, and that's fine. I just have this gut feeling we're not going to see that out of the two here at the road course. Again, it's not his favorite thing to do. Again, he's proven that he's getting much better at it. But if he can take a top 5 out of this, even if it's just fourth, I don't see him rooting and gouging the 93 of Sisler out of the way. I could be completely wrong. And if it happens, well, it's just more drama for us here at HBR TV, but we'll see if it comes to fruition here. Sisler with about 3 or 4 car lengths on Neil Quick. Alfie Sharon runs real wide out of the corner, turn 5. Millett enjoying an 8.7 second lead over Brian McCann still. On board with Neil Quick. Alfie Sharon is there with less than 7 to go. Good exit for the 9. Defensive line for Neil Quick. Pays off. Looking to the inside. Maybe a bump. Nope, no bump. Alfie was there. I tell you, Alfie is an aggressive driver too, but on a road course, you might actually see him use the bumper if he needs to. Good news for Alfie, he's got some time here. 7 laps to go. Down into turn 6. Quick change of direction. Alfie's there to the inside. Nope, not quite. Tough place to make a pass through the S's. It's not impossible, but it is sure hard. Crossover move to the outside. Alfie, not enough room. Down into 11. Neil Quick locks him up. Alfie goes to the inside, takes the spot away. Alfie Sharon up into the 4th position. Chris Elliott in the stream chat. Alfie is trying. He sure was, and he got it off. He paid off. I can't even talk, folks. This might be a boring race to you guys, but I'm loving it. All the hard work paid off for Alfie Sharon. He gets up into the 4th spot, moves Neil Quick back to 5th. Didn't need to use the bumper, just had to push. Force a mistake out of the 2. Neil locked him up into the hairpin, opened the door for the 9, and the 9 drives through it. So with 6, maybe 5.5 laps to go, does Alfie have enough time to reel in Matt Sisler and put the challenge on the 93? Remember, Sisler now, he's got some road racing background and some experience. He's going to be hard to guard. But Alfie's got, well, Mr. Miyagi and Zach Millett teaching him how to run these road courses. Maybe he's learned something. He's looked pretty clean. Oh, and Alfie loses it off the exit of the hairpin. All that hard work down the tubes. Tough break for the 9. It's going to give Neil Quick the spot back. Uncharacteristic mistake. I got to wonder if he got a piece of those barrels on the inside. Let's see if we can get a better look at it. It's down into turn 11. This is the hairpin. Does he get the inside barriers? Oh, he's going to hit this tire barrier for sure. Yep. Clips it with the right front and the right rear, and it sends him around. Tough break for the 9. Let's see if he's got enough time to work his way back to Neal and do this all over again. Meanwhile, Jesse Redding is in the pits, and he's been off track in a bad way as well. Let's see what happened here. I got 3 different incidences with Jesse crashing here, so let's take it one here at a time. Just runs wide off at 10. Nope, no crash there. Keeps it going. Let's check this one. This is heading down into the S's. Oh, too much curb. Oh my goodness. Joe Tucker gets a big chunk of that as well. I want to watch that from Tucker's point of view. Oh, man. That might be race over for Jesse Redding, I'm going to assume. And, well, slow and steady pays off for Doug Wysocki as he picks up another position here. Meanwhile, out front, Zach Millett with almost 12 seconds cushion behind him. Back to Brian McCann with coming to 3 laps to go. Vincent Short back there with some more damage. I don't know if he just didn't get it fixed or if that's from the original incident or what the case may be, but Vince still out there turning laps. Chris Elliott in the chat. What's Jesse doing? Just going for a little roll. At least it landed on all 4s. Zach Millett in dominant fashion here again. Took the pole position. He's led every lap to this point. Still got to drive it home to the checkered flag here, but it's getting closer and closer. That goal is getting larger and larger out that windshield. No need to look in the rear view at this point. There's a reason it's smaller than the windshield, because everything out in front, far more important than what's behind you. Mill it down into the hairpin once again. Two laps to go for Zach Millett. He's still pushing hard here. The rear end of that race car slipping and sliding even at start finish, but he finishes the lap in 1:20:33. Still cruising. Meanwhile, Alfie has caught and passed Neil Quick once again for the 4th spot. See if we can find that pass. Back here it is, just a moment ago. Into the hairpin again, all over again. Neil Quick locks him up, and Alfie goes on by. So Alfie maintaining the 4th spot. I don't know if he's got time to get to Matt Sisler here. I don't think so at all. They're quite a ways between each other at this point. 5.7 seconds back to the 9 unless the 93 makes a mistake here in the closing laps. Keaton Burnett still hanging on to a top 10. Chris Goins up in the 7th spot, down 1. White flag is in the air for Zach Millett, working through turn 5 down into turn 6. Goins may have a shot at Tucker here, though. Not quite to the white flag, but Brandon Mefford looking to the outside of Chris Goins. This is a big-time battle here. Mike Tucker, Goins, and Brandon Mefford, 6, 7, 8. Oh, contact! Chris Goins goes around, straightens it back out. Chris Goins slips back to the 9th spot. I think there was some contact with himself and Brandon Mefford, incidental possibly, but we'll get back and look at that maybe later on. But final lap here for Zach Millett. He's into the hairpin for the final time. Looking for a race win. Drew Prale is there. Millett through the quick left, turn 12, checkered flag in the air, and Zach Millett dominates here at Sonoma Raceway. Millett led every single lap en route to this win. Redemption for the 315 after last year's runner-up finish to Brian McCann. Go back to this battle, Brandon Mefford and Michael Tucker. This the fight for the 6th position. Through the S's into turn 10, the final time. Late and hard on the brakes for Brandon Mefford. He looks to the inside and he gets into the 39 of Tucker, but he keeps him straight. Checks up, oh, but on the power. Getting out of the corner. Now we got a 3-wide fight for the final positions. Keaton Burnett's going to take 2 spots away at the finish. Unreal. Keaton Burnett finishes 6th, Tucker 7th, and Brandon Mefford was 8th. What a run to the finish. Meanwhile, Millett celebrating. Millett coming back to start finish. Top 3 was Zach Millett, Brian McCann, and Matt Sisler. Alfie Charon, a strong run to recover back to finish 4th. Might have had a top 3 if it weren't for that incident in the hairpin. Yeah, they're going to go for the jump. With that, we're going to step aside here, get a break out of the way before we talk to our top 3 finishers. Folks, stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Millet might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short. Back at Sonoma Raceway, race number 9 in the books, and a dominating race win for Zach Millet, taking the pole position, winning the stage, leading every single lap en route to a checkered flag. Redemption for sure from last season in the truck. Zach Millet and Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got me?
Hey, Steve, got a copy.
Zach, congratulations, man. I don't really know what to say. I know we talked during the stage break that you were going to stretch it out to the finish. I got to wonder if the lead that you had prior to that stage coming to a close, of course, the late caution flag due to the stage and how far out in front you were, then, of course, another lap to get everybody caught up. That added caution laps effectively to the race. Did that really help seal the deal to run all the way to the finish without another stop, or were you good to go anyway? You just didn't want to reveal it?
A little bit of both. I knew it was going to be real close, even if we went back to green a lap earlier. But yeah, once we took that extra lap, it was perfect. I just didn't want to admit it over the air. But it really took the strategy right out of it, and I just had to, kind of short shift and not wreck the tires and give it away.
Well, I figured you'd kind of keep the cards close to the vest, as you so often do. How difficult was the conditions out there? I know I ran some practice laps prior to the race event, but it was about 40 degrees cooler track temperature than what you guys dealt with here tonight. How difficult, how challenging was it to throw down those fast laps, especially late in the run?
It was just unreal. I mean, you really had to nail it every single turn, every exit, every entry. It was just, if you burn it up on entry on one turn, the whole lap is just wrecked. It's gone. And, you really had to kind of be perfect the first lap, or else you're really not going to get the super fast lap. And I'm surprised I got a 16 there. I only ran 2 other 16s in practices, and it was the same thing. It was just a perfect lap, really.
Well, it works out in the end, of course, a dominating performance. Alfie Charon had his share of some bad luck and then some good luck as well. I got to ask, have you been coaching the 9 throughout this week in preparation for this race? Because he seemed pretty smooth out there with the exception of a couple of mistakes.
No, honestly, I was kind of a horrible teammate this week. I didn't get a whole lot of practice in. I've been kind of steady at work just about every day. But anytime either one of us has a question about anything, we definitely help each other as much as possible. And it definitely shows. We usually do pretty well, like most oval tracks, most mile tracks, road courses. It's a good team to be a part of, man. HBR has been really awesome.
So speaking of ovals, next week we go to Chicagoland, and I know you've kind of been on a limited schedule here in Noble. Are you available next week, or are we back to the job?
Supposed to be back at the job, but I'm going to try to scam it, see if I can get the night off, but we'll see.
What else is new? Well, we hope that ends up being the case. You can continue this run. I think that's 2 weeks in a row. You won it last week, didn't you? Or am I losing my mind here?
Yeah, no. I think this is my first win in Noble this season.
Maybe a bunch of polls. I'm just losing it. They all blend together. Zach, congratulations, man. We hope to see you next week. Who do you want to thank before we let you get out of here?
I got to thank you, Steve, HBR TV, for the broadcast. Subscribe and hit that like button. HBRTV1.com, HBRShops.com. Track Bar Media. Make sure you hit up Brian Rose for any advertising or media needs. All the guys behind Noble, all the admins, Right Turn Racing guys, especially Elliot for having the softest hands in iRacing. It really goes a long way. Castle Packs Power, Eric Dothan State Farm, all my great teammates over at HBR. Beatles Custom Car Carriers, check them out on Facebook. And big thanks to everybody out there watching and the community on iRacing, watching the live streams. It's pretty cool to go back and watch these and see everybody commenting. And shoot me a follow over on Twitch at ThatS4Guy.
All right, Zach, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck in the next race, wherever it may be. Thanks for chatting.
Thanks, man.
Zach Millet, your race winner here at Sonoma Raceway. Next, we're going to talk to Brian McCann, our runner-up Wasn't able to make it 2 years in a row, but a runner-up finish for the 3 of Brian McCann. It's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Hey, I got you.
Brian, congratulations. A strong run. I mean, nobody really contested for that second position throughout the course of the race. Just didn't quite have enough to reel in Zach Millett. What would have been a game changer?
Maybe a little bit of tire prep, you know, a little extra something in the car somewhere. So, and that's sort of what I'm wondering, that post-race tech, is that going to be able to pass it? You know, that's what I'm waiting on.
Well, we'll see if he makes it through. Certainly that's always a question when Millett leads every single lap from the pole position. But again, it's still a strong run for you in the second place. The good news, I guess, is Millett's not running a full schedule, so you got that to look forward to next week out at Chicagoland Speedway. I know you've got a whole season under your belt in this Gen 4 Cup car from the IROC Challenge Series. How do you feel about your odds next week out at Chicagoland?
Oh yeah, just those big tracks in general, and this car is, you know, real fun. You got to save both the right front and the right rear, so really just be easy on your tires, which was the same concept here, but I just couldn't never figure out, and Zach just kept getting faster and faster and faster, so I just focused on not wrecking, and you know, we got so spread out. That was really what it was, just racing the track, not really racing the people. Although I heard on the broadcast some more really good racing behind me, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy at the end there. A 3-car battle between Brandon Mefford, Chris Goins, I think it was Chris Goins, and Keaton Burnett. Keaton was the beneficiary of that all day long, but yeah, that was a fun one to watch for sure. With all that said, Brian, again, thanks for talking to us. I know it's a tough one to swallow. You were able to take the checkered flag last year in the truck, but not so much the case here. Wish you the best of luck next week. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you get going?
Yeah, shout out to my family, you for doing the broadcast, league admins behind the scenes making this happen, our sponsors, and everybody coming out here to race and to watch the broadcast tonight. Thank you.
All right, Brian. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Brian McCann, your runner-up here from Sonoma Raceway. Next, we're going to talk to Mr. Sisler himself and the number 93 Lil Hooper Designs Kia Stinger, putting it into a top 3, I think, for the first time this season. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I can't remember all this stuff. I don't have a stat guy. Matt Sisler, it's Steve in the HBR TV broadcast booth. You got me?
Yes, Steve, I have you.
Matt, congratulations. A solid top 3. I don't think anybody's surprised. We know that you do run pretty decent on these road courses, but this place was a handful. We knew that coming into tonight. I'm actually really impressed at the talent that all of you guys, not just the top 3, had in this event. Walk us through the laps of this place and what it took to turn fast ones consistently every time around.
Well, I mean, you know, well, to finish first you have to finish. That doesn't apply. It's more, with Zach Millett running on a road course, it's more finish second. First you have to. But it was just, you know, keep the car clean, don't make any mistakes, because you know, I think Zach said it in the green room, you know, you blink in the wrong spot and you could be going off the track, and it was just a matter of keep the tires on it, don't overheat the rears, and, you know, just keep, you know, pointed in the correct direction, because, you know, 6 seconds on a road course is quite a bit until you're spinning the wrong way, and all of a sudden that 6 seconds feels like nothing. So just a good day for our Lil Hooper Designs Kia Stinger to qualify where we did. I didn't expect to qualify up in third. I thought maybe we'd be top 5, and then just kept the nose on it and brought it home where we did.
With all that said, the Kia Stinger in the top 3. We had an Audi with the race win, a Chevrolet second, and a Kia in third. Is this your first top 3 of the season?
Yes, it is. My previous best was fourth at Vegas, where you had Drew Plays and Neil Quick get into it off turn 4 after McCann took the flag. So now I was battling Goins to hold on to P4. So it was initially going to be 5th, and then I'm like, well, I'm still not giving Chris 4th. I want a top 5 here, but I'm not giving him 4th now.
Well, with all that, I want to run by the scenario that, unfortunately, really for us here in the booth, didn't come to fruition. Was the battle between you and Alfie Charon that we were expecting to see. Alfie got by into the 4th spot, past Neil Quick, and then got into the tires in the hairpin, spun himself around. If he got to you, do you think you had enough to hold him off? His last lap was about 2 seconds faster than yours.
I think it would have been something. It would have been something to see. I had more in the car at the end, like the last laps, realizing you're 6.5 clear of the car behind you or something like that. It might not have been 6, it might have been a little closer, but it was like, just give it all back. Don't make a mistake. Don't hit the tire barrier. Don't go off track. Because like I said, 5-6 second lead, it feels like a lot until you make a mistake, and then all of a sudden it feels like you got nothing. So it would have been interesting if Alfie had gotten there. I know he was flying later on in the race. I was doing everything I could to keep the tires on it, because it's so easy to spin up the rears, especially on the exit of the hairpin. I mean, you're just trying to keep the revs down, and it was just like, it was really tricky. Just keep the tires on it. So Alfie, if he got to me, I would have given it what I had to try to hang on. But give credit to him. He had the guys he got by to get up behind me. Not easy to pass. We've seen Michael Tucker be very aggressive on defense, and Neil Quick is no slouch. So those guys, for Alfie to get up there and get fourth, and I think what might only be his second race of the season, he give him his props. He did a great job.
Well, that he did, but you did just a couple of better here, finishing in that third spot. Next week, we go to Chicagoland Speedway. I know you really looked forward to this place, but what are your thoughts about Chicagoland next week?
Chicagoland's another one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite ovals. So it should be fun. I'll have to practice a little bit more in this Gen 4 car there, because I know I do quite well in the old Gen 6, the Xfinity cars, and the trucks. So just but these things are a different beast to those. So we'll have to run some practices. We can see what we got going to Chicagoland, and we're looking for the playoffs now with one race left. I think we're fairly safe with our third in the stage and the third in the race, but just gotta stay out of trouble at Chicago. It should be, if we stay out of trouble, it should be quite a lot of fun, and hopefully we can all put on a good show, and hopefully it's not just Brian McCann turning on hand mode, as he called it, and driving away from everybody at the end.
Certainly a possibility, but put in the practice. Maybe got a shot at it next week. Matt, thanks for talking to us here tonight. Wish you the best of luck, but who do you want to shout out to before I let you get out of here?
Well, obviously, first off, Chris, Jesse, you for putting this on. This league has been a lot of fun to join this season. You for doing these awesome broadcasts. My sponsor tonight, Lil Hooper Designs. He's done all my paint schemes that you've seen this year. So he's a talented kid too. Really talented. He's going to UNOH, so that's in the fall. So I have to get as many as I can before college. But Celsius, Tire Pros, Apex Tech Racing Supply, UNOH, the PodiumFinish.net, and and again, Steve, you for putting on these awesome race broadcasts. These are always fun to go back and watch.
Well, Matt, again, thank you for the kind words. Congratulations again on that third place finish. We wish you the best of luck next week, man. Thanks for talking to us.
Not a problem. You take care now.
Matt Sisler, your third place finisher here at Sonoma Raceway. That's going to wrap up our interview portion of tonight's broadcast. Let's jump to our official race results. Of course, we talked to our top three: Zach Millett, Brian McCann, Matt Sisler. Fourth was Alfie Charon, a strong run for the number 9. Neil Quick was fifth. Keaton Burnett finishes in the 6th spot. Michael Tucker was 7th. 8th went to Brandon Mefford, although it probably should have been a top 6. Things kind of came together there on that final corner coming to the checkered flag. It was certainly exciting. Chris Goins finished in the 9th spot. Joe Tucker, a solid top 10. Drew Prale was 11th. Vincent Short finished in the 12th spot. Doug Wysocki, 13th. Jesse Redding was 14th. Ken Couch, 15th. Will Hewitt was 16th. And Mark Truxell, unfortunately, only made one lap here tonight. I can only assume connection issues for the driver, the number 5. Tough break, because Mark usually runs a little bit stronger on the road courses, as that's something he does spend a lot of time doing. Tough break for the 5 this week. Maybe better luck next week out at Chicagoland. But that's our race results here from Sonoma. Thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. Do appreciate the viewership. This was a fun one, at least for me. Again, I'm a road course guy. Maybe it was boring for you because you're an oval person. I don't know. Nevertheless, I thank you for being here 100%. If you haven't already done it, we talked about it, please hit the like button in the stream. That does help us push the video out to a wider audience, not just for us here at HBR TV, but the league as well. And give us a check out there on HBRTV1.com. Not a whole lot going on, but we do appreciate the viewership there. And if I can get my ducks in a row and get my rear end in gear, I'll start to put the live broadcast links up there on a regular basis. I haven't gotten the whole week in yet, but it's the holidays after all. People are busy. We'll get it figured out. One comment from the Tucker family in the stream chat. The 39 had steering damage the last 10 laps. I'm not surprised. I remember we did see him, I think it was turn 5. He caught the outside tire pack with the left front. Certainly knocked the toe in or out on that machine. Certainly makes it for a difficult task at that point. So a strong finish for Mike Tucker to still take home the number 39 car in that 7th spot. So other than that, thanks for tuning in again tonight. Join us next week out at Chicagoland Speedway for that event there, race number 10 of the No Bull Racing Series. And we've got some races this week as well. Before we get to that, Tuesday, of course, the Numb Thumbs Racing League continues their season, but Wednesday, Numb Thumbs also kicks off their late model stock series. So that's going to be fun to watch also here on HBR TV. Tune in about 8 o'clock for that. I think Green Flag it's about 8:10 p.m. in the East. So that should be a blast to watch. Short track racing and late model stocks. That's a fun thing to do. No matter where we go, that'll be a blast. So thanks for watching, guys. Tune in for all the action this week. Thanks for being here tonight. We'll see you at the next one. Take care.